Happy Saturday. Happy Saturday. How's everybody doing? So it's still not letting me see myself. It always does this. Let's get set up so I can see you guys talking. Let me back in. Here we are, excited to see how the tree came out. Thanks, John. Yeah, well, I am too. Now, I still have about 1 more minute on this resin that I'm mixing. And I know I've been staying in resin mode this entire week. So next week I gotta push out some acrylic stuff. Hey, Sandy. Hello, Miss Sandy Sanders. You know, I saw that message that you'd placed the order when I gave you the that gift. By the way, if you guys have never entered the quarterly contest, everybody that enters gets a $15 gift certificate from us. And then morning, Fairy Art Mother, morning, Lori, Kathleen McGee, right? So everybody who enters gets a what you call it, a $15 gift certificate, a special code that goes with them. Oh my goodness, thank you, Sandy. Now, a little update for everybody. I've got about 30 more seconds on this, and this resin's ready, so let's get started. Hi, everybody. My name is Leslie Ohnstad. I'm the creator of ColourArte Products, and I'm your host for ColorPlay Live 3 days a week. I need to open up with this, guys. Tuesdays and Fridays at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time and at 9 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturdays. Hey, Dee, how's everybody doing? I had a little discussion with a couple people this morning, and it sort of helped me focus on what I'm going to do today. So let me get this split in half so it doesn't get too hot too quick. Judy, I tried to open up and figure out how to use that cute little mixing device you sent me. Sadly, I'm not really good at mechanical instructions. I'll figure it out, but I only gave myself, an hour this morning to read the instructions, and that's not really good planning. So I apologize, but I did break it out. It looks pretty nifty. Furry Art Mother had sent me this resin mixer that you can turn on, and it will, hi Joan, good morning from Missouri to California. She sent me this mixer to make life easier on me, and it's got a little thing where it'll hold the resin and then mix it for you and go off in 3 minutes. It's pretty darn cool, but I didn't give myself a lot of time this morning to fool around with it because I thought with all the resin I'd be playing with, yeah. So this morning, well, I'll talk about yesterday's discussion first. So Sheldon and I talked after the event was over, and I know in my head that molds are in reverse, but that darn sunflower mold was so beautiful. I kept thinking, that has to be the face of the darn thing, right? And then Casey sent me what she believes is similar. It looks really similar. I mean, it could be the same manufacturer, just a smaller version, and we'll have to get her to link it up because I'm still trying to figure out who made these molds. And if she can give us a way to find them, that'd be great. But the thing is, the sunflower is in reverse. And yesterday, when I was laying down the center, I put down those custom-made rocks. Then I pulled them out, thinking they needed to show from the bottom side. So I'm going to actually show you the sunflower first, what happened to it. I chose not to fill it up and with resin, finish it off. I set my alarm at actually 2 a.m. thinking I can do some kind of pour 7 hours before our event today, and then I can show you what happens during the tack period. And then I thought, but wait a minute, I spent all that time coloring the center. That whole outside thing. This is going to be my one time to be able to pull up the center we poured the resin and maybe fix it. Now, some of it's run. I looked at it just now, so maybe that won't work. Let me get my little notebook thingy so we can sit this up on here and we can all look at this together. So, this thing is so big though. This thing is huge. This is a really, really, really huge mold. Now, you can see I'm loving that custom color we made with the aquamarine and a drop of that phthalo blue green shade. Now, sadly, it did pour out of here, right? I filled it too much. Whether it'll allow me, here we're gonna go, to demold the middle. Yep. And just as we suspected, now here's something interesting. It's not shiny. So be prepared that this is going to have a matte finish on it. That's not what I expected. Take a look at that. Wow. Right? And it did have a chance to pool in there. So now we have an idea of what it would look like when it dries. Yes, but the mold is matte. That's not what I had expected, which means plan B. I do love what happened right here where the bold and the red, yeah. And possibly I could paint it. This would definitely benefit from me highlighting areas from the tack time. I had actually planned on using some Myers glass. Fairy Art Mother had turned me on to this company because they have this dark blue and the pieces are a lot smaller than the custom glass I made, right? So I thought I could put them in first and have them be part of the seeds, but I think this whole mold's gonna go to plan B. I'm going to sit and figure out how I want to address this since it's matte. I still love that texture. That mold is really pretty. Now, it may benefit from us rubbing some interferences in here, rubbing colors that'll give it a little shimmer in the mold before we lay the color down. But yeah, it didn't turn out like I expected. And you saw it first. I didn't see it till you saw it. I had no idea this thing was not going to dry shiny. So we learned together. Let me figure out where I'm going to put this piece. I feel like I'm on the cooking show. I'm on the cooking show saying, put it in the oven and 20 minutes later, here's your lasagna, right? Okay, so here's the tree of life. Now, oh, I'm loving those colors. I'm hoping the light can pick that up. Yeah, these colors are gorgeous. All right, well, we're gonna demold this first. Yikes, I'm nervous to see what happens. Now, I did this in 3 layers. And even with that sunflower, I was thinking the same thing, is lay a small thin layer. How are you, John? You're so cute. Or maybe the notebook's not such a great idea. Let's get this out of the way. Sometimes I need to have something at a slant. Now, I don't want to break anything. Wow! Oh my goodness. Okay, I am going to put this back on the notebook. Holy cow, it's still a little soft. Wow. And the mold needs to be cleaned a little bit, but and this mold's shiny. See how this one's shiny? At same company. So let's get this mold out of the way. Now, what I was trying to explain to you guys yesterday, and this mold let me do it, I ended up just brushing the purple sapphire on there, and when I put a drop of alcohol, it split open all these little parts that I dabbed the butterscotch in. I tried to get some green on the edges of the leaves. Now it's a very, very, I mean, very deep mold to get your color down in there. You got to work a little bit at it. No, you couldn't find this. No, she doesn't make this. This either came from the United Kingdom or Russia, and I promise I'm going to look through my molds. Casey thinks she has a sister to it. She has that sunflower, but look at the side of this thing. I mean, it really allows some good dimension. Be really pretty, and let's see how far back we can get there to show the whole thing. And some kind of charger plate holder. This turned out more beautiful than I expected. And I do like my glorious, this is the Purely Pigment colors. This was that Aztec yellow, rose gold. I put in some ginger peach, electric orange. I think we mixed up something like a jasmine color. Oh no, yeah, the dancing fuchsia. This was the blood orange, and this was that royal purple. Whew. Well, there you go, Miss Sherry Ellis. You mentioned how much you love the mold, and I dug in and started playing with this thing. I am really excited. Wow. Okay, so it's very interesting. What dropped from the top? What dropped from the top, Evelyn? Very interesting how they dropped from the top. A glass bottom would be gorgeous. I'm looking at you guys' notes. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this mold. And like I said, I did 2 pourings on the tree. So you're able to pour a little bit of resin in there, and maybe don't put a color in there. Leave it clear. And then you can, your background colors you had, put them on top. Yeah. Okay. I'm still confused, but whatever you say, if you love it. Hope we can make people happy. This is my first time ever doing this. I think I want to practice this a little bit more. Okay, so what do we have planned for today? I have something I need to finish. My gradient piece. And I've been talking to a couple people this morning, trying to figure out what I'm going to do. When I tried to put the texture on this, it's a bigger piece than 11 by 14, but that resin was seizing up so much. Dee even says, yeah, I'm on the edge of the seat to see what you're going to do. And this stuff was seizing as I was dropping it down. Now, the challenge is these lines are too darn fat and too darn uniform. Okay, so I've been stressing, yeah, I'm going to try, John, I really am. Morning, Sheldon. By the way, Sheldon, you missed the demolding. The sunflower was matte, but here's the tree of life. And it's very 3D. It turned out to be a pretty spectacular mold. So we're pretty happy with this one. Sheldon just joined us. So as I was staring at this thing, God, I'm trying to get my camera back far enough so you can actually see the whole thing. These lines look too uniform, straight across. I mean, yeah, there's some jaggedness to them, but on the edges, it should really thin out like it almost goes to a no gas line on each end, right? And my thought was, let's see, which one looks the most irregular? The ones that have kind of an irregular pattern already dropping down, I can just accentuate that, add maybe a little bit more gold. You know, like some clouds have, I've been studying clouds a lot lately, ever since I started this piece. And this piece that we're gonna try to finish here was my cornucopia event piece. That was fall last year when I did the first layer. So to bring everybody up to date, if you didn't see how we got here, the base coat was Prism Pour Mayan Gold. And then in the cornucopia event, layer run, I mixed primer elements with varnish and did the gradient glazing with the varnish. I let the varnish do the glazing for me. Then in another one of the videos in our lives, I added a second layer. Now, third layer was this texture. I'm looking around because my piece that I was trying to simulate, my seascape type of piece that Swipey did with all those beautiful whites and pastels, I was trying to get a similar look. And like I said, for days I've been trying to figure out, do I just run with it? Do I put more heavy lines? Do I create an abstract? Do I give up on the gradient concept of a sunset? I mean, I'm going through all these thought processes. The only thing I can think of doing was painting on top of the areas that were fatter, so they blend into the background, so it looks like the line goes thin. And then where the gas cloud does give us an unusual little drop, if depends on where you live and the sunsets that you have, but I've seen sunrises and sunsets where the sun hits the clouds with just the perfect angle, and it looks like the cloud is edged in gold or a bright reddish gold, right? I mean, it just, wah! So I might be quiet a lot today. You guys are going to be watching me do this because I'm going to figure out how to fix this piece. I can say that, trying to find the spot. There's one little spot that like a pea size of clear resin dropped on this. And as I suspected, all those glazes on top still did not block the gold glow of the Mayan gold Prism Pour on the bottom. And so I really want to run with this thing and finish it. It may not be perfect, but it's a great test piece. I'm looking at just everybody saying good morning, so you're all just kind of listening to me on the feedback. So without further ado, I'm going to try to think this out. I've pulled some of the original colors I used in the gradient. So like I said, I can touch up these paint lines. And now, interesting fun fact, here's our little teaching moment in today. Sherry Ellis this morning said, I can paint on top of resin. I'm like, well yeah. Have you ever heard of Victor Baroni? Now, he gave up epoxy, I think 3 years ago. He did this mineral painting in acrylic, and he had discovered he had some kind of allergic reaction to resin. And so he stepped away from resin about 3 years ago. But previous to that, he was known for doing these wooden trays. He would lay down, you're right, Catherine. Catherine Mefford says there's no such thing as perfect art. Perfect to me is it rises something in me, some kind of emotion is there, and I want to go back and look at it twice. And my eye wants to go here, here, and here. That's when I know I've done my job because it's interesting, right? But I forget the point of where I was going with this, but yeah, okay, so Victor Baroni was known for, he'd put some color down, or a color like a clear color in his resin, lay it in a tray, and then he painted on top of it with, guess what? Varnish and color. He did a varnish glaze on the resin in between the layers. Now there's another artist for you to look up. His name is Bruce Riley. You will never see him teach you how to do his style on YouTube, but there are quite a few videos dedicated to him. Bruce Riley, The Art of Psychedelic Art. There's a really long interview with him of where his head is at when he goes into the studio and what he's thinking, and he tries to check any expectations at the door, you know. But what he does, there is a partial video where, hello, Priscilla. Good morning. Priscilla Batzel is in the house from Expressionist Studio, along with Shell Rock. We got two of our affiliates here today. Sheldon from Sheldon Briscoe Art and Priscilla from Expressionist Studio. So the part of the video that they do show you about Bruce Riley, it looks like a long conference table. I've studied this thing so many times. I must have watched this video about him at least 20 times trying to figure out how this guy is doing this. And so it looks like a conference table that might be 10 or 12 feet. And then it looks like it's glass, but I suspect that it's already black, covered with resin, right? And then he's dropping different paints, different things. Some of them look very translucency. I swear he's using varnish as part of this. What he's doing is dropping the colors on to get this crazy chemical reaction. And he is using some minerals and micas in there to create some interference. And he does like color, resin, color, resin, color, resin. I think he works, his average layers are probably 4 to 6 layers. His pieces sell for a ton. But yes, Sherry, you can paint on resin. So as I was saying, maybe this area here where the line's a little bit fat on the end, you know, I can take some of this color that is underneath it and kind of soften up that pink. I'm going to try to do this. It's, I'll tell you what I'm doing as I'm doing it, but if for some reason I get really quiet, a lot of you guys know when you get really super focused on painting, we have a tendency to get overly quiet. So, without further ado, let's take a look at this sucker. I'll figure out what colors I think I need to make up. And this one down here is going to be a little bit different because it's running right over all those blues. Yeah, I know you got to concentrate sometimes, Catherine. You just do. So the top will be fairly easy. Get this thing in here so we can get in the figures. So the top should be fairly easy to figure out. I was using the crocus and the papaya cocoa and the bleeding heart in here, and this was that pure harvest fire. So I'm gonna mix up some colors and get some cups going. Sorry guys, I gotta get some cups over here. Get some cups where we got some stuff to mix. Now, two things we're gonna do. I'm gonna make some paint so I can detail paint over the top of this directly on the resin. Then what I'll do, I'm gonna make up, like I said, probably just some gold, maybe a place where harvest fire can be put. Like see where this pink is on top of that blue? That is jarring to me. That color doesn't seem like it belongs there. So even if I can soften that up with the aubergine on top, right? Or I don't know, Prussian violet may be too dark, but some kind of color. I think I have some Rhapsody Rose here, and Rhapsody Rose was used here. But this is too light of an area to feel like it's blending in. So this is a little risky. I know no art is perfect. So I know Bleeding Heart was one color I used a lot of. The Rhapsody Rose, let's just get right in there since I talked about it. And I don't know, this jasmine pink may be too hot, where the papaya cocoa and the playful peony look like they'll kind of blend in and soften. So I didn't plan on doing a video today on touching up my piece, but you know, you kind of go with the flow. And when Sherry, I said, Sherry, I got to finish that gradient. I said, you should see that little spot where the resin dropped on it. You can still see the Mayan gold from behind. And she says, sometimes, she says, yeah, that gold was glowing through when we saw it on camera. And sometimes you just got to fix your work. So let's get some Bleeding Heart. Oops. Sorry you guys can't see me. Let's get some Bleeding Heart mixed up here. If you're going to come in and join me, I should at least let you participate in what I'm doing. And yeah, I cleaned up so much. Let's find our spoons again. All right. It doesn't take that much. So I'm going to start with like just a 16th. 16 should be more than enough of these. God, I love this Bleeding Heart. By the way, this is in the Be Still My Heart set, and it's on special this month for Valentine's. Thus the name Bleeding Heart. And I want something a little bit darker. The Papaya Cocoa does have a coral to it, as does the Playful Peony. See, that looks kind of more of an orangey coral. This kind of still has a pinky tone to it. The Papaya Cocoa, let's see how different that is. I was going to mix them together, but I think I'm going to need all three of these to give us that subtle feel. And then I'm going to mix up the Rhapsody Rose, because I know I'll probably need it down here where we're getting to a darker area. I love the Madagascar Ruby, but I think it's just too darn orange for what we're doing. And this looks plenty orange enough for me to cover that base. I'm in love with my Josonia varnish, man. I love this stuff. A lot of people ask me if I sell the varnish or different things. I'm like, why reinvent the wheel? If there's a beautiful varnish out there, I don't need to make another varnish, do I? Okay, this is a really good brush and should let me be able to paint. It's a little bit fat for most people's comfort zone. Oh, this is a little bit smaller. Let's start with the smaller one. Rhapsody Rose. Now that's that nice dark color that should help soften up that pink line that's driving me nuts. Oh, this is the Papaya Cocoa. Pinky orange. They're all kind of in that pinky orange family. They also have different, like this is a little bit more subtle, not as bright as say this is really bright. So I'm going to touch them up first. Then I'm going to mix some gold and Harvest Fire resin and see if I can't add a little bit more something to my clouds and make this piece interesting. I have a whole bunch of resin mixed up, which I'm not going to end up using today, so I'm going to have to figure out what I'm going to do with it. When do you think you might bottle my... When I have the money and the time. It takes making a label. Yeah, the wedding agent. Yeah, I'm with you because I think people would really love that wedding agent. I think it's going to come in handy, especially when you're trying to add the, okay, I got to remember where everything is. So Bleeding Heart is going first. Oops. I got to make sure I have it right here where we can see it. So we got to know that that's Bleeding Heart. This is my, what color was this? Wasn't Playful Peony. Shoot. Now I know this is Papaya Cocoa. And we know this is the Rhapsody Rose. So you lost me. Are you back? So let's start the closest area here. Okay, and see if this works. I'm going to try some Rhapsody Rose on top of this pink that I think is entirely too dark. because I am right-handed, it's going to seem odd that I'm painting it this way, but I got to paint it in a way that I can actually see it and do something with this. Well, there we go. So that brush may still be a little bit too big. I'm going to pull up this Rhapsody Rose here. And remember these, if you don't remember, these original base colors were made with varnish and primary elements. So if I have to go over one of the base colors there and blend it in, I can. So here I'm going to try to make the line get really thin. Can you see it? It's making it to where the little gas line's going to be super thin, even though I think this is far too light for this section. I mean, my instinct is just to cover the whole damn thing with this color. I'm wondering. Now, I wish I had a Q-tip here. Part of me wants just to see what happens when I rub this all over with my fingers. Because sometimes finger painting works even better, right? Sometimes not. I've got it on my glove. The goal of this line is it's so darn light, it doesn't really fit there. So yeah, I think the whole thing needs to be covered up with a darker color, and then maybe with the Prussian Violet. I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not seeing anybody's comments, but yeah, see how this is way too pink for that area. It's just too darn light. Man, that Rhapsody Rose is really pretty on top of that. I got to remember this color combination to paint over. But yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus. And yes, Sherry, you can paint on top of resin. Her concern was the resin might be slippery like the silicone was yesterday. And it wasn't accepting, right, that color. And resin and silicones are different. See, now I'm still spreading this. Can you see how translucent that is? You can see that color that I dropped in there underneath. You can even see that gold highlight underneath. Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is going to be pretty. And I got no problem softening that line. Now, I don't mind that one little gassy highlight there. I might just leave that there. This too looks a little bit strange. I'm just going to sit there and look at that while we do these other lines. I'm just going to live with this color that I did and see what I think about it, right? Now, this has this strange burnt orange color, and it really, yeah, I love that little highlight right here where I didn't rush it all the way over, and I'm leaving that little highlight line so it'll catch it, right? So it looks like a little cloud highlight. Okay, now these colors don't fit at all. Orange on top of the Prussian Violet and the turquoise blue. Now darn it, I think I left my water basin. Hang on, I've got one back here too. I haven't been using water with the resin lately, so I haven't had a reason to have my water basin on my table. Get this over here where I can easily rinse my brush if I need to. So I think I'm going to do, even though Prussian Violet's really dark, but that's what was used there, Prussian Violet and then some other blue. So if I make a glaze out of the Prussian Violet and cover this up, it should soften that kind of weird orange effect. Really just doesn't look like it belongs. And I started this piece, I think I told you in the beginning of the video, I started this piece for the fall event last year. So it's kind of time that it gets done. All right, so let's do a little bit of varnish in this cup. I kind of want a combo of an aqua and the Prussian. I'm going to start with the darkest color, which would be definitely the Prussian Violet. Quickly becoming one of my favorites to play with. And you don't need very much to do something like this. 30/2 of a teaspoon, I think, is all I'm going to do in this one because I just have the one line, right? So, yeah, but that's way too much varnish in there. Oh my God. This color is so pretty in the varnish. But I think it may come out too transparent because there's not a lot of color in this. But I can't help that I enjoy this color so much. But let's see, do I need to concentrate my color a little bit more? Back to the drawing board. Will this work? I just want to soften this. Yeah, it needs more color. It's pretty transparent. I mean, since I've already started this, I'm going to go all the way across. But I may have to come back with another layer of something else on top of it. But I think you guys get the point that, yes, you can paint on top of resin. There's another artist to look up. His name's Ohnstad. He used to have a studio in Hawaii. He's moved since to Palm Springs. Palm Desert, I think, is where his studio is. Now, I've mentioned him before in other broadcasts. He's unusual. He works with the stuff they coat airplane wings with, so it's flexible. And if you're working with a flexible surface, you can actually use canvas because it won't sag, right? So what he does is I don't know if he's painting between the layers, but he'll do a layer 1 and might have yellow and red in layer 1 and a black background's already been painted. Then layer 2 is 2 more colors. Layer 3 is 3 more colors. They claim he does up to 35 layers or better. Now, this is kind of interesting. My little weird... I'd like to look at that. Yeah, we'll go up, look Alain Vital. Now, on YouTube, there's a few videos dedicated to him. And it just shows his work. And I think there's an interview with him. But Bruce Riley, boy, I had the hugest crush on him. I don't know what it was. I just wanted to be on Bruce Riley's shoulder while he was doing his thing. Okay, now this, like I said, I think that's a little transparent. So I'm going to take just a bead of some more pigments on my brush and add it to my varnish here. Kind of tap it in. So the color on my brush is more concentrated than what's even in the cup. Technically, I should probably let this dry before they do this because I don't really want it to lift the color I laid down. So it's a little risky going over with a color that's going to blend in a little bit better. But at least I don't have this orange, burnt orange line on top of this blue. This is kind of a cool effect. Because I can see the color beneath it. That's the beauty of glazing. The color beneath it will come through. Now, just to make sure it's all blended in, I'm adding a little bit more Prussian Violet where the Prussian Violet was. I'll try to keep that highlight line like I did in the other one. I'm getting myself boxed in here. Let me rub this in. I just want to make sure that the Prussian blends with the other Prussian. So when we resin over this thing, yeah. So it's going to blend in a little bit bitter. It's not going to look as much as a big fat line. I don't know. One more little dab of the Prussian violet, and then I'm going to let this section kind of dry and see if we have to go back and touch it up. Oh, sorry. I'm trying to get some of that orange off the edges. And yeah, that actually is pretty interesting with that orange peeking through. This would be a cool technique to do on purpose. Yay! Do something on purpose and not by accident. That would be nice, right? Now, see how this turned kind of pink? The good news is all these reds and pinks back here are going to wake up as soon as we resin it. So I'm not as worried as I was before that it was that pale light pink that really didn't belong in there. Okay, so now we're getting in the center section. Going to be a little bit more challenging to show you guys how I'm going to do this. Who makes their own mold, Sheldon? That's pretty awesome to know. And out of his fruit molds, that's even better. I think this is the papaya cocoa. And again, it's a little bit pink here. So if I brush over with this papaya, it's going to soften up that pink to gold that's right here. I feel like I need a little bit. I think I went a little bit crazy on the varnish because I want just a tad more saturation on these. One more time, I'm going to get a little dab on my brush. Mix it right in my papaya cocoa. Get a little bit brighter color. See what we can do to kind of soften this pink line here. A little too pink for my taste. Especially on the edges. I want to have it almost like they disappear on the edges. Kind of remove that whole fat line, that fat bottom girl thing. Like the song, Fat Bottom Girls make the world go round. I don't need fat bottom. Ooh, gosh darn it, I keep forgetting. I don't need fat bottom lines here. So it looks like it's blending in, getting a little bit more part of what we're doing. I'm just going to kind of take the varnish and blend it in with the color around it. So it looks like we intended to do that. This next one up is a little bit more orangey. I think I can get away with the this looks a little bit, got a little red. I kind of like the look of this. This must be the bleeding heart because the bleeding heart has that little bit of pink in it, right? So let's see what happens if I grab this bleeding heart. Of course, the gold line here doesn't really bother me as much. But just so we're being consistent. And again, see how soft the bleeding heart is? It's not really trying to take away from that. I can add Well, this one's almost perfect. It doesn't need much touch up, but since I'm doing it, I'm going to be consistent all the way down because that's not too bad. Wow, look at how that one's drying here. Now that's really going to look really blue. But this is kind of cool. Can you see that effect? The blue on top of that orange is starting to, yeah, it's already dry. You know, I'm wondering, I don't know if I need to add any more resin to this. Maybe I can just touch this up and then resin the whole damn thing. What do you guys think? I don't think I need to add more resin cloudy things to it. There certainly needs to be enough. What are you guys' thoughts on this while I'm painting? Yeah, I think I'm willing just to soften these lines and not make them look so fat with paint. It looks awesome. Yeah, I'm thinking with just once I get this touched up, this varnish is going to dry really fast. We'll be able to put the top coat of resin on it right away. I mean, 5 minutes. I can entertain you for 5 minutes and we'll be good to go. The varnish is pretty friendly with the epoxy. Like I said, I just want to soften this. It just looks too big a clumpy gas clouds. And yet adding some dimension underneath this, it's making them look way more interesting. And I'm with John. I want to leave these highlights in here. I'm not going to take away from, yeah, just a top coat on these. Okay, I'm going to flip this around. So we can do this. It's easier to access this section here. Now I need the lightest color. I didn't really mix up a Cosmos. I still think the Bleeding Heart is going to be a nice color to glaze this with. Yeah, there you go. See, that's just going to soften it slightly. And then it will accentuate. The cool thing about this is in the top and the bottom where it's going up and, you know, on either side of this, it will accentuate this cloud line or gas line or whatever it is that we see in the environment. Half the time I'm wondering if it's the airplanes dropping fuel or if it's just a cloud that's turned into a real thin stream of something. I don't know. I'm grabbing this. This is more of an orangey color. I'm just seeing what this looks like here. There we go. Ooh, what was that I used? This looks good. I'm liking this peachy, pinky orange. On top of these colors. And I'm looking that it doesn't look perfect, that it's random. Like you can get a little shadow in here, but then a highlight here. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is, who said there's no such thing as perfect art? There really is no such thing as perfect art. It's just, does it rip your heart out? Does it give you emotion when you look at it? Does it make you want to stop and take a second look? To me, that's perfect. Perfection is the emotion that it rises in us. It makes us feel something. I could be all wrong, and you guys can tell me I'm full of it, but all right. I still think this is that other color. I got to go look at the jars I played with. I know I called them out, but one's Bleeding Heart. I think this is the Papaya Cocoa. And then once I've got it covered, I'm kind of going through the top and bottom of it so it seems to belong there. And by doing it, it's creating more depth right around my little gas clouds, making them pop a little bit more forward. This one's almost perfect, other than it's too fat on each end. That's the only reason to add more resin clouds, is to kind of soften up each end. But I'm willing to concede and say this was a great piece to practice on. And like Fairy Art Mother said, you need to have some pieces that you can go to interior designer and say, here's some sample boards of what I can make you. So we'll consider this a sample board, right, Judy? To give somebody an idea what can be done. See if I can smooth this out a little bit with my finger. I don't really like those brush strokes. Okay, now we got this one dead center. I really love that blue cast. I don't want to take away from it. So I'm going to try to leave the highlight and that gold in there. Right here on this section. I like that it's not perfect, and I actually like that the colors are kind of random now. This is softening up. Now this one we covered up that was too light a pink, still kind of sticking out as pink, right? Do we dare warming it up? Well, I just dared myself to do it. So I just put a tiny bit. Oh my God, you can see the aubergine already beneath that waking up. This is going to be so pretty once we resin it. Still looks a little bit. Okay, now the top here, I've got some streaks. What I'm going to do is just kind of take a clean brush and try to smooth this out. Anything I can see that needs to be smoothed. Till it all dries evenly. Oops. So I'm just going right down here, in any place where I see wet, moist stuff, I'm just softening. I'm going back and forth. I don't want any more wet paint. I want it to all dry, nice and smooth. And even down here where I kind of touched up the pink one more time to kind of bring in that coral color. Okay, so before I can put my top coat of resin on, we need to tape this off. And I'm nervous. Do you guys ever feel like that? I'm nervous. Now what do I do? Did I screw this thing up? So I thought I'd have to put more resin on there. I'm okay with this the way it is. I mean, more resin clouds, and yet they're fat enough the way they are. They're definitely fat bottom girl style lines, right? Yeah, thank you guys. I hate wasting this stuff. Now I wish I had some more stuff I needed to glaze. Thank you, sweetheart. All right, so let's get my tape going here. Now, the sides of this thing, I don't know. The song is Fat Bottom Girl. So when I set this canvas up, I already taped the back. I did this in last fall. I taped the sides twice, actually 3 times. And Mooncusser, I wish there was a way I could show you how to do this. Mooncusser teaches you to put the tape halfway and then fold it under the back, right? and then all the way just to where this top line is here, right? And then fold it back. And then you come in the center, which is what I'm about to do. And it'll go above the sides because we want it to act like a dam, basically, to hold the resin. And the fastest way for me to do this is actually in my lap. So I apologize. This is the one thing that I can't have somebody with a second camera showing you how to do it. This is live, and this is what happens with the lives. So one side, let's see if we can flip it. Try to use one continuous piece of tape. And flip it. Oh baby, come on, work for me. Mama needs a new pair of shoes. Come on, you're gonna work for me. Tape's trying to stick to itself. Well, continuous tape may not be smart, because it's trying to stick to itself and we don't want that. Let me see if I can pull it out. Pull me out of trouble. I hate though when it sticks to your gloves. When the tape sticks to your gloves, you're kind of toast. Okay, there we go. Good, it let me do this side. Sorry for the damn it, guys. Don't mean to offend anybody. Because the last thing we want is this to leak all over your table. I tried to look up this mat that I'm using, and it seems bigger than a 25-inch roll, but it could be. I found some that are 19-inch wide, which this seems about right. The thing I'm putting on my table, a lot of you asked me for the link to buy it. And it, I think it's a 19-inch by 25. I'm trying to think everything that I've bought that looks like a silicone on a roll this morning before I came on, but I wasn't really sure. It's like you buy all these supplies thinking that someday you'll need them, and then you pull them out and use them and say, oh, when did I buy that on Amazon? And what was the name of that thing? Because it's already out of the bag. I just pulled it right out and I'm cutting off of it, right? So we got this tight enough. I might go around one more time. You guys need to entertain yourselves because this is not exactly the easiest thing to do on camera. And make sure you got your tape nice and straight. And the more you can prep your canvas in advance and it protect it from all those drips and everything that can get on the back of it. Yeah, this is still trying to curl up on itself. The better. The more you can protect your canvas, the better. Yeah, I got into trouble on this thing when I tried to use one piece of tape. I'll never do that again. Thought I was being smart, right? Yeah, the whole back is taped, John. The whole thing was taped off quite a while ago, but I want to create a dam so the resin can get to all four corners and fill up. Right, so I got to have a good seal on this. Just give me a minute, you guys. Again, wonders of video, you never see this part. You never see the artist fighting to get. I have one little spot here that I'm worried the tape is gonna stick. Right, let's set this thing down. Let you guys see what I'm doing. Get my notebook out. When I resin, I varnish my sides. Okay. Sometimes I actually want the resin to go over. There is a little trick, and I'm really still learning the timing. because Tammy shows how to pour it. And I think it's like 2 hours into it, you pull off the sides and it just goes smooth over those edges. Yeah, I still have one piece of tape that's stuck on itself. Well, I'm gonna have to retape this one place. Yeah, the struggle is real, guys, especially when you're dealing with gloves, trying to get the tape to unstick from itself. And I got one little funky spot, so we're gonna put one more piece of tape here. Extra protection. Because I'll be damned if the darn thing leaks. It's sitting on my table for a few hours. All right. All right. What song is that? All right. Some famous song was like that. All right. Come on, flip for me, camera. There we go. Okay, now I am gonna have to stand. This is a pretty darn good sized piece for me to sit down and try to do this. So bear with me. As a lot of you know, I had that fall last Tuesday, so the standing's gonna be a little bit of a challenge. And then I'm gonna raise this up, not to make you guys dizzy. Let's raise this up. Yeah, I'll resin my sides after it's done, but I want to make sure the top is done. And if the resin goes and hits the sides and comes back in, then you know your whole cavity is full. And that's the first thing. We want to make sure the cavity is full. I think we still need to go up. There we go. A little bit higher. Okay, here we go. All right, and I have a gobs of resin already mixed up. So I guess maybe somewhere in my heart of hearts, somehow I thought I might get here. I don't know. Ooh, I didn't mean to grab 2 sticks. We'll stick one in this other cup. Here's another one. Yeah, I ended up mixing 16 ounces. And then I thought, oh my God, if I end up just fixing this thing, what am I going to do with 16 ounces of resin? Oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry, you guys can't see what's happening. And I'm sitting here, oh my Godding myself to death. I have no idea if you can see what's happening. This is insane. Yeah, Terry Lechner sent us a link to a thing that you can, that pulls all the bubbles out. It's like $150, but if you're really doing a lot of resin work, it might be worth the investment someday. It's some little thing that, I guess it warms up the resin and it pulls the bubbles out. Dear Lord, this is pretty. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I have 2 more cups of that resin on the back. I'm not out, I promise you. I have a full 16 ounces, which I think will be enough for this 16 by 20. It's probably more than enough. I just want to make sure I get every single corner while I'm standing up here doing this. And for those that you were newbies, resin is self-leveling. A lot of people like to take a glove and do the final touch-up with their hands to make sure it gets in all four corners. I may do that right at the very end, but my biggest goal right now is hitting the four corners with this. There's that place where the tape wanted to overlap on it. Get a little heat on this thing. I am actually really thrilled with what I'm seeing. The base colors that we varnished are just popping. Oh my God. I'm afraid the camera is never going to do this thing justice. I cannot wait to hang this on my wall. I can't wait to do another one like this. Okay, we got 2 more cups, 8 more ounces of resin. Thank you, Dee. This is my redemption piece. My redemption piece. Oh my God. Oh my God, that Prussian violet I stuck on top of the resin. Oh guys, I'm doing this was an accident because I was trying to fix something. Oh, no, I'm doing this again. Right here, you probably can't see it. Oh no, you can't. Right here, it's starting to just pop and glow. Now look at right here, there's this line that's popping. That's that Prussian blue that is going nuts. Uh-oh. My phone's having trouble in the cradle. No, no, no. Don't fall out on us right now, please. Bear with me, guys. I gotta move my phone over just a little. It's trying to pop out because I'm contorting it, okay? And then we got more resin coming over here. Get all of it out of the cups. Oh my God. I am doing another one of these, Fairy Art Mother. I know you told me I could do other color combinations, and boy, are you right. I called her on the phone after I've done that, like that seascape piece and all the whites. And I said, I want to do that again. She goes, you know you can do it in other colors. It just doesn't have to be those seafoam colors, right? I mean, and she's right. I knew if I put the prism pour down first. See, when you put down the prism pour as your layer 1, it dries really hard surface and it's like glass. So when I varnished over the top, you could see the gold glowing through behind. And the top was so smooth and slick, the varnish just glided over like I said, like working on glass. It was crazy. I felt like I was working on glass. That's actually my favorite way to use a prism pour is at a brush paint. But I realized after Saskia's video, she did such beautiful videos creating those rock shapes. They're like the dotting rocks that the dotting people use, and you pour the plaster Paris and concrete in the mold. You know, after watching her do those prism pour videos and blowing the blooms on those things, I mean, of course, it's beautiful. We made it as a deep base paint, so all you have to do is add varnish and it'll bloom for you. But I still like it as a brush paint. It's a challenge because it has a really strong surface tension. It wants to dry really fast. And Cindy Porter is kind of our resident animal artist that paints with it. And I said, what's the trick? She says, put more on than you think you need, right? And then any excess, she just wipes the excess on the side of a big salsa cup and then scrapes it back into the bottles. You're not wasting anything. But you got to have enough paint on there. Now I'm still checking my corners, guys. Just making sure this is completely covered. Last thing we want is to have pockets with no resin in it at all. Oh, I wish I could show you what I'm seeing here. I mean, I know it's not going to run. I could try to do a little notebook lift and then put it back, and the resin should self-level. After I heat this one more time, I got to get the bubbles off of here. Let's look at this one more time. Do we have... They are really beautiful. I admit that primary elements, any of our pigment systems, but those primary elements in the glaze underneath resin reminds me of dichroic glass. So I'm just kind of like going all the way around, pointing to every corner, seeing if it's all filled in. Seems like that 16 ounces was the perfect amount to put on a 16 by 20. It's got all my edges nice. Actually, looks like there's a little extra resin down here. One more heat. And yeah, you're right. Eve warned me the other day to come back and check in at about 30 minutes and keep popping bubbles. Here's a little corner here where it missed. Needs some resin up here. All right, I'm going to try. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this, but if I do the notebook rays, it should cast some colors on you. So let's cast some colors for you. It's a wood 16 by 20. And it's one of those Fredericks that came with the top of it is a white melamine. So you don't even have to paint the darn thing if you don't want to. But it's solid wood on the back. Definitely solid wood. And yeah, because with resin, there's still another spot here. See, I'm going to keep seeing spots that just, if Mandy's in the house, I call it pulling a Mandy. She is constantly touching up her stuff, making sure there's every little hair is out of there, every little fleck of whatever is in the way is in there. All right, I'm going to sit down, if I can. Find a place to sit. Let me get these, I kind of got a mess over here. Let me get these containers of resin in my trash can. All right. You can hear the acetate on the floor. Yeah, thank you for saying that, Shell Rock, Mr. Sheldon Briscoe. Yeah, take a moment to say like, subscribe, share. Okay, I see, because sitting down here, I even see a few more bubbles. That's it. You got different viewpoints. So on top, Okay, let's get my gun in a safe place. Let's get the tape out of the way. All right, I hope this works. We're gonna try to show you. Now, my camera is still up high. Great. That's a piece of acetate caught under the wheel of my chair you guys just heard. That's what happens with lives, guys. It's really real, right? It's real. It doesn't get more real than this. Let me lock this arm up so it doesn't move on us. Thank you. Now we're gonna try. I'm gonna try. We hope that, because I have my little notebook, even though it's gonna make the resin move, and my resin is perfectly laid out right now, but I kind of want you guys to see, oh, the colors. So yes, let's lift it up, shall we? Put it in your lap, Leslie. And real quick, because it's gonna run. Can you see that section up there, John? These blue highlights are still in there. It's crazy what it's doing under this resin. And the gold that you see, all that gold coming through, that's the prison pour on layer 1. It's still giving us layers and layers of gold. Whew. This has got to be one of the prettiest pieces. I gotta say, I'm pretty happy with this thing. Okay, down off the notebook, because I'm not gonna mess with how balanced this thing is. Yep. This puppy's going on my wall. I don't know. Maybe I'll make another one and then put it up for sale. Who knows? I've never sold anything I've ever made before. Huh. Hey, Evelyn. What'd you say, sweetheart? It's awesome just visiting with you guys and watching the art. I agree, you know. Oh, by the way, everybody wants to know who won. The winner of the $400 shopping spree was drawn this morning. Her name is Pisan Huang. Pisan Huang won. She's in New York City. When I called her this morning, she says, really? Really? I won? I've never won anything. She sounded like you, Miss Sherry Ellis, when she said, I've never won anything. And she goes, this is such good luck. Today is the beginning of the Chinese New Year, the year of the dragon. I didn't know that. So she was just beyond elated when I called her this morning. That's one of my favorite things to do, is to call the winner on that Saturday morning and say, hey, guess what? You won, right? Now, the prize winners are being drawn right now. The affiliates are in there drawing their random drawing. It'll all be posted up on the website Monday morning on the Winter Dreams event page. And there should be a little form for you to fill out. If you think you won the channel drawing, because you've got an, and especially if you guys have unusual names, like I happen to know who Princess Jasmine is, but I don't know who King Ralph is. And sometimes we have channel winners with names that I don't know their real name. And if they don't reach out to us, how can I send them their gift? So there's a form on the contest page for you to fill out that says, I believe I won, okay? And here is my real name, and here is the channel name that I won under. And then we'll let you choose your choice of which prison pour set, the small prison pour set you want to know. It's one thing to know color and light. It's even better with what? Oh, demonstrated before our eyes. Sheldon, you're a sweetheart. Thank you so much. Guys, my mission for 24 is follow through. I started this thing in last fall, and if you've got some pieces hanging out there, but you've hung on because you kind of sort of like them, start thinking about how can I dress it up? How can I make it different? What can I do to put my thumbprint on this thing? And the other mission this year, and I mean, I've told people at trade shows, it doesn't do you any good leaving your products in the drawer and just walking by and petting them. And that's true. But now that even pertains to me. It's pretty sad that the girl that designs this stuff actually hasn't really played very much with it in the past 3 to 4 years since the COVID outbreak. And we're changing that. So yes, it is. It's not finished till you say it is. Congratulations to Pisang Huang, the winner of our $400 shopping spree this round. The next event will be April. We're looking at the last weekend in April. I think it's the 27th or 28th or 28th, 29th will be the next event for our contest and the $400 shopping spree, and a chance for our affiliates to kind of shake their stuff and show off their art. And in the meantime, it doesn't hurt to go back and watch those videos. If you haven't watched them all, there's a whole lot to learn, even though you may not still be able to win the $400 shopping spree. Don't not watch those videos. I know I say it every time, but the art this time around was extraordinary. And I am so proud to be aligned with these beautiful affiliates that have honored me to work with my products. So if you get a chance to watch them, I suggest you do. And my name is Leslie Ohnstad. I'm your host. Hugs and kisses. And remember to play with your toys. Bye.